So we merge a bunch of pull requests, allow handling culture patterns more robustly, some checks in the auto route patterns. With cultures, he found some issues he fixed. On the next, on dev, a null check for workContextAccessor. 110x join to the results for the query. This one, let me think. Yes, in some conditions for the container widget, the result was not ordered, and it appeared ordered, but it was by chance, and in some cases it will not appear ordered. So he fixed that. Fixed comments, total blog is always 0, so it's an update on dev branch, which will show the aggregated number of comments for a blog or any container that has comments in the admin. It was always showing 0 before. 110x taxonomies, autocomplete. There was a bug, yes, in the autocomplete for taxonomies, which is that you could not see any entry or any taxonomy value if you didn't type anything in the text box. So you had to type A to see all the A's or B to see all the B's. You could not say, "Oh, show me what's available." So now this is fixed. So by default, if you don't type anything and you open the drop down, it will show everything. And then new feature on the IScearchBuilder to support groups and with unit test to show how it works with group. It was a request for a long time and the design was done, so someone implemented it. The breaking changes on dev, but not so breaking as the only implementation we have and we assume people have is on Lucene, and there is the implementation. So that's good. 110x. Antoine is back. Yeah. Questions? Cool. So we have things here. Is this a rebase? Nope, it's not a rebase. So just up to here. We did some triage also on Thursday for Orchard Core to merge pull request and look at issues. So this is Sipke fixing the README typo. Nick is working on GraphQL, so I just keep these ones. Chantieri, this is a branch called maybe commonFeatures, which is about fixing some extraneous calls of some services during setup. So optimizations. On master, what do we have? So a fix on tag helper context attributes for the liquid tag helpers. So it's a way for liquid blocks to actually call into ASP.NET tag helpers, Razor tag helpers. A fix for Razor pages to have a custom route name. The migration from media URL to asset URL, which has been merged. Setup page handles no recipe available gracefully. First PR from Chris Payne on Orchard Core, which is, let me see that, not forget, which is about if your website based on the setup module doesn't have any recipe, it will show it correctly. Before it was just crashing. And you can have a website without recipe if your website doesn't reference any module that has a recipe, or if you don't include a recipe in your application itself. So the idea also that we started the discussion with Chris about moving the current recipe files from the Orchard CMS web app to individual NuGet packages. So you reference the NuGet package to have the recipe, which in itself references the theme it's requiring and all the modules it requires. So this way, you can selectively create a web app that will display the recipes that you want to enable, yours or the ones we ship. So it will be nice, and that should be super simple to do. So that's the idea. Dev branch, just fixing appveyor script to support Docker images which are breaking. Same thing. So yeah, Nick has been working on GraphQL again, because at some point we were blocked by the licensing issue, but it's now fixed. So he's working on that again. There is no more licensing issue with GraphQL. Hello. And that's it. We have still this branch pending, but we'll merge after beta is shipped. This is Nick working on APIs and GraphQL. And this is, so last week we talked about renaming some packages for better understanding. And I did that this morning. It's a PR still. And once I have some feedback, I will merge it. But Nick agreed about changing these names. So now we have orchard.core.theme.targets. So if you want a module to be a theme, you just reference this project, orchard.core.theme.targets, instead of orchard.as-theme. We have the same thing with, oh, the name is bad here, theme, yeah, that's good, module.targets, application.targets if you are creating a web app that is modular. So this is for a module package, a theme package, or a modular app. And if you want an MVC modular app, which is just a modular app with the MVC module, or a modular app with an NC module. And right now we have an Orchard.cms, which is an app with all the CMS modules. We could even call it orchardcore.application.cms, .targets to be consistent. I don't know, we'll see. And the default web app that we have will just point to it. That would make more sense, actually, to have the same consistent naming convention for documentation and for discoverability. That's it on that. And last week we talked about package names, and I think I mentioned that we were blocked on ImageSharp to be released on NuGet, and I had mitigation plan, and I will start the mitigation plan, which is I will create an ImageSharp.web package on nuget.org, one that we will own. It won't be called this way or maybe this way, I don't care, because they have 6 labels prefix. So I'll create one and reference this one on NuGet, because they don't want to ship it yet on NuGet. They want to wait for another release of their main package, which I don't care about. So we can just do it. Okay. This way will be unblocked. Demos, there is no demo. I didn't do anything of value this week on Orchard 1 or Core. I was busy with some other work in the ASP.NET team. Topics, questions about that or anything I've talked about so far? Topics, articles. So let's see. We have Sipke, who wrote a blog post, and Chris Payne, who wrote 3 blog posts. Let me find the URLs. So this is an old thing. So this is a blog post from Sipke, and 3 of them by Chris Payne. So this is very interesting, because that proves that they are working on that, looking at it, and also they have some great feedback that we can work on. So this is Sipke explaining how to host. He's not here, I assume. I didn't see him. Nope. Explaining how to host Orchard Core on Service Fabric, Azure Service Fabric. So he's doing it. That's cool. And these are 3 posts by Chris about getting started, and he explains the bug he had and he also fixed. And that's so getting started with Orchard. And Sipke thinks I fixed the issue, but no, Chris fixed it, created a PR. So what does Antoine has to say? Yep. Yep, so he's just creating a new web app and just referencing the Orchard CMS package and just starting it, and boom, you have the Orchard CMS. No more than that. Then as NuGet package getting logging working, install the NuGet, so it's to set up logging in his new web app. So he's using the Orchard core logging and log, but he could use anything else than nlog. It's just our sample which is using nlog, but anything on the .NET Core will work. We just have samples and a library to support tenant, multi-tenant logging, meaning the tenant of the current request will be logged. So that's something that has been added in the Orchard core logging and log, but any log engine will work. And it doesn't have to be a module, it's at the app level. And how to change the password requirements for Orchard core. Very interesting again, because we don't have documentation for that. Well, now we have, it's a blog post, but it's explaining how to change it by code and also by configuration. So because we are using standard ASP.NET identity modules, the defaults define at least 1 uppercase, 1 lowercase, and 6 chars in total. This is a default, but as he mentions, you can just change in your web app the values like this with this code and define what you want. And actually, required unique. Yes, this is something I added to ASP.NET. So when we designed the form, we saw that it was complex to enter the password, and we also had coding horror. I don't remember his name on Twitter, who said that these things are bad for defining complex complex enough password, and you should just require unique chars and a minimum number of unique chars, and that's it. And this has been added since then, so it was shipped in 2.0, so you can just use that if you want, number of unique chars. And the UI will update automatically based on the settings here. And he also shows how to load the setting from a settings file and how to change it in the settings file. So that's very interesting. This should be part of documentation. At the same time, it's just ASP.NET Core default usage. So, but that's interesting to see how it's used in Orchard. And a reminder that this pop-up will be updated automatically based on this rule. So this is in JavaScript, we build the string here. And I'm wondering, it won't work, it can't be localized this way. We need to find a way to localize it. Maybe a localized script to be interesting to see how we'll fix it for localization, because it's dynamic string. Okay, questions? So these are the 3 articles from Chris and the one from Sipke. I hope you won't stop there. I want to see more. Good. So topics, article. What else? We renamed the packages. Questions, comments?
I can make a quick demo of what I did on the HTML WYSIWYG editor.
Okay.
Okay, so I updated the JavaScript of TrumboWYG, the plugin we use to create a WYSIWYG HTML editor. And I added some plugins included by TrumboWYG. So I added this one, base 64, to include an image, and it will appear in base 64 in your source. I added colors to be able to select a foreground or background to your text, and I added a no embed to from select a URL and include the corresponding embed. So let me show you. Now I can write some text, select it, change the foreground color to yellow, or select the background color as black. So this is what it generates. Yes, I don't know what it is, RGB and not.
Well, that's fine.
The second one is to include an image in base 64. You can select this one. And it will be included in base 64. That's a huge image. And you can also select no embed, select a URL like a YouTube page,
The best YouTube page.
yes, and you will have the corresponding embed.
How extensible is that? You had to change the view? I assume it's not extensible.
You have to add it in Orchard.Resources. In WYSIWYG plugins, you add any plugin you want, and it will be compiled thanks to the...
So it can't be from another module?
No. And those are plugins supported by WYSIWYG only. So it will compile the CSS and the .js to combine them in the script. And then by default, I hard-coded and said I wanted these two buttons and two btn def. So we have
yeah, so I assume it could be possible from the admin theme to disable some of them. If someone wants to remove them, like, I don't know, they don't want to show the image, the base 64 because people will be confused and will add images this way and not the other ways. So, okay.
Yes. So these are btn defs, and you can specify them in your btns.
Okay.
You will have a drop-down list of buttons.
Cool. Thank you. So I have a question from Soterios. General question, Angular, React, or Vue. There is no, everybody seems to be moving to React, but Orchard didn't choose. What do we have today that uses it? So we are using Vue for now in one module. I think in a single module in the the media uses Vue, the widget editor, the widget, the flow editor. Is the flow editor using Vue also? I don't think so. Maybe not. Maybe. let me see. At least media, I'm sure, but the rest, I'm not sure. So we are using view. We don't use the other one so far. We don't decide. Most of our views don't use any MVVM engine like this. Just media so far, maybe another one, I don't remember. And we have no specific recommendation, or we don't enforce anything. If someone comes with a great module that uses React, this module will use React, and that will be fine. But the rest of the UI is not linked to any MVVM engine. That's the answer. So any module is free to do what it needs to do. It will be better to have to use that every module use the same one, but because we have a very very broad audience of devs, we are not, and we just accept whatever people ship their modules with. So that's the idea. That's it.